Hey, week 13, we are live. Ylose campus, Lance Taylor, ylose.com/Lance. We're going to give you 5 winners right here in college football. We've been on fire. College hoops, we've killed college football Saturdays for you, and it will continue into week 13. Hard to believe we've only got 2 more regular season Saturdays left, but it should be crazy, especially rivalry weekend. But some opportunities for some upsets here. Obviously, the big game everybody's talking about. Undefeated Indiana, 10-0 for the first time in their program's history, traveling to Columbus to take on Ohio State. Noon, Big Fox kickoff here. Right now, Ohio State is a 13-point favorite. Look, since the Oregon loss, the Buckeyes have held their past 4 opponents to under 20 points per game and fewer than 275 yards. Buckeyes are doing this with defense. I think it is going to be the second best offense they have faced outside of Oregon. And obviously, in that Oregon game, they lost that game. They're second nationally right now in red zone defense. They are first nationally in scoring defense, the Buckeyes, 10.3 points per game. When most people think Ohio State, they don't think of Jim Knowles' defense. They think of Ryan Day and this offense. But really, it is the defense that has carried them to this point. I think this is really interesting. When you look at Indiana, everybody talks about how bad this schedule has been. Not that it's Indiana's fault. They don't schedule this. They lead the nation in scoring margin. They're outscoring their opponents by more than 30 points per game. Here is going to be the big key in this game to me. You've got a lot of experience at the quarterback position for both Will Howard at Ohio State and Curtis Rourke in Indiana. But I think this comes down to the trenches. And this sounds laughable that I might favor Indiana in this situation. But when you look at Seth McLaughlin, the starting center for Ohio State, on an offensive line that is already questionable, if you're looking for one weakness with this Ohio State group, it is the offensive line. Right now, Indiana is 10th nationally in sacks per game, over 3 sacks per game. And without McLaughlin, I think this offensive line is going to be thrown off. Indiana has been incredible in not committing penalties, but I think the entire offensive line is thrown out of rhythm with McLaughlin being out here. And I think this is one of the keys that nobody's going to be talking about. And I think Indiana is going to harass Will Howard on the road. I don't know if they can get the win here, but I think they covered the 13. And this is hard for me because you guys by now know that I'm more of a contrarian, and public money, sharp money. And public money's all over Indiana. The sharp money's on Ohio State, but I just think this is one of those weird games where Indiana is getting absolutely no credit at all because of the schedule they play. And I really don't know how good Ohio State is. I think they're good. I don't know if they're great. Indiana, they're great in the red zone, 6th nationally red zone offense, 7th nationally in scoring defense. Defense comes to play. And again, I think they get after Will Howard. I'm taking Indiana plus 13. We're going to stay in the Big Ten for our next game. This is a 3:30 CBS game as Penn State goes to Minneapolis to take on Minnesota. Not a great Minnesota team by any means. Now, the last time P.J. Flecker, the only time he's faced Penn State at home, 2019, Minnesota not only won the game, they stormed the field. This is a Minnesota team, I think, with Darius Taylor running the football, playing a Penn State team that is 48th in red zone scoring. They have one player that the offense really runs through, and that's Tyler Warren. He is fantastic. But I think P.J. Fleck and the staff good enough to draw something up to slow Tyler Warren down, make Drew Aller beat you. And again, with this scoring defense, only giving up 17 points per game for Minnesota, which is 12th nationally, I smell an upset here. And this really would throw everything out of whack. But I'm taking Minnesota. This number is dipped down to 11. I saw it as high as 12.5. But we're taking the Golden Gophers plus the 11. Next game, 3:30 Fox, Colorado, one of the great stories of this college football season. They continue to get better and better. They're currently on a 4-game winning streak. If they win out, they control their destiny, not only to win the Big 12 and get to a college football playoff, but if they continue to win, they can win a national championship. I still think that's ridiculous talk. Shedeur Sanders has been great. 8 straight games with 250 passing yards and multiple touchdowns. Longest streak for a Big 12 quarterback doing that since Baker Mayfield, the year he won a Heisman Trophy. Colorado's been a great story, but this Kansas team, there's a meme going around of them as the Grim Reaper knocking on the door, knocking off undefeated Iowa State, knocking off undefeated BYU. Obviously, Colorado already has multiple losses at 8-2, but this would completely knock Colorado out of a championship picture, and I think they're able to do it here. Kansas right now, second nationally in red zone offense. And as good as Colorado has been at getting after the quarterback, and that's been the big key. Look, Travis Hunter's been fantastic. So is Shador. But this Colorado defensive line, just getting after the quarterback, and one of the best they're sixth nationally in sacks, over 3.3 per game. Kansas, sixth nationally, only allowing 9 sacks in 10 games. Kansas offensive line holds up. Devin Neal plays well. Jalen Daniels plays well. Kansas wins the game. I'm taking Kansas plus 2.5. Live dog situation here. Next game, we are going to Yankee Stadium. Notre Dame and Army. Army, an incredible story as well, just like Colorado. 9-0, ranked 16th, highest ranking they've had since 1962. The 100th anniversary of the Four Horsemen game. It was played 1924 in the Polo Grounds. Back Yankee Stadium here. Notre Dame, since losing to Northern Illinois, the Irish have outscored teams 195-41. Notre Dame, I don't trust them throwing the football with Riley Leonard, but they can run the football. And I think they will dominate up front. You look at this Army team, as great as this story has been, they haven't faced a top 50 offense or top 50 defense the entire year, and they've only beaten one team with a winning record. I will take Notre Dame all day long. I will lay the 14.5 here. That is a 7 o'clock NBC game. And finally, we're going to the SEC, to Jordan-Hare, where the Auburn Tigers are hosting Texas A&M. Texas A&M has been an incredible story as well under first-year head coach Mike Elko. This is their first big game without Le'Veon Moss running the football for A&M, and I think that's going to be a problem. I look at Auburn right now. They are 8th nationally in red zone defense. This Auburn defense has played pretty solid all year. Peyton Thorne is coming off arguably his best game as an Auburn Tiger last week with the 5 touchdowns against Louisiana Monroe. Auburn catching 2.5. I like another live dog in this situation. I have been to Jordan-Hare multiple times at night. It is an insane place, and I think the crowd will show up just to try to give A&M that other loss. And I'm going to go on and predict a little ahead. I think A&M loses this game to Auburn. And then I think A&M probably catching 5.5 to 6 against Texas in College Station rivalry weekend. I think they knock off the Longhorns. That's an early prediction. But to recap, our 5 selections here at Ylose. We do this podcast every single week. You can get the daily for $49, the weekly for $99, the monthly $2.99. Jump on board and win with us. But 5 winners to recap. We're taking Indiana plus 13 on the road in Columbus. We are taking Minnesota at home plus 11 against Penn State. We are taking Kansas plus the 2.5 in Lawrence. We are taking Notre Dame minus the 14.5 games in Yankee Stadium against Army. And then finally, we're taking the Auburn Tigers plus 2.5. That game, 7:30 ESPN against Texas A&M. A couple of live dogs there for you. But 5 winners, absolutely free. Jump on board and win with us here at Ylose. It's that simple. Ylose.com/Lance. Like, subscribe, share. Let's get some winners.